Alright guys, so wow, so much has happened in the past 9 months. I went to my laptop and took a look at the last video that I posted, and it was literally 9 months ago. And the last video that you guys saw from me was when I was in LA for the LA Fit Expo and a couple photo shoots that I did, and how much things have changed since then. Wow, bringing all the feels right now just because so much has happened in the past 9 months. Well, basically I'll start off with career-wise. So when I got back from LA, I immediately started working at Equinox. If you guys are familiar or not familiar, Equinox is a high-end training gym here in the States, the United States. It's also international, so it's pretty pricey. But I started working there as a personal trainer, and that literally took over my entire life. I was working in South Beach, so I had to drive down from not so South Florida to all the way down to South Beach. So pretty much the drive every morning was about 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes an hour and a half if there was crazy traffic or if there's an accident on 95, which there usually is. So that literally took over my life, and I had to start building up my own clientele, my own business that way. So I was there 6 to 7 days a week, literally from the morning till night. And then I would drive back super late, and it was actually kind of scary because looking back, I fell asleep on the wheel so many times, and I know it's so terrible to say, but it was quite the crazy 5 months that I was there. So from January all the way to about May, I was working at Equinox every single day. I had no social life. I wasn't seeing any friends. I was not going out. All I was doing was there. I was there, and it was tough because I had to build up my clientele. I was getting educated. Equinox has this entire education system where they pretty much rank you up their tier system because they go by tiers. So you start off as tier 1 anyway. Long story short, they had classes all around South Florida that you had to attend 3 times a week, or 3 days out of the week, and I had to drive everywhere. So I was driving down South Florida, stuck in traffic all the time, working, building up my clientele for about 5 months. The money was okay. Unfortunately, I wasn't making a lot. I was making enough to pretty much pay for all the damn gas to get there. And obviously in the beginning, when you're working as a personal trainer, you have to build up your business first, and then you actually start making a good income later on. So my business started picking up. I was having a lot of clients. I was moving up the tier system. I was about to get promoted to tier 2. And at that point, I was working 6 days a week pretty much. I was there all freaking day. I got to a point where I was like unhappy, leading up to having about like 8 or 9 clients, and I was training them about 3 days a week each. So I was there about, I would train about roughly between 4 to 5 clients a day, and the rest of the time I was on the floor networking or building relationships or trying to pick up more clients, or going through the classes that I had to go through to move up the ranks and move up the tier system. And that was, honestly, it was a depressing 5 months, just because I literally had no life, and I was working all the time. I wasn't talking to anybody. I wasn't building any relationships with friends. My social life is literally down the drain. And in the midst of that, I kind of fell off my Instagram platform as well. Before working at Equinox, so this is back in January before I started, I was working as a server, so I would work during the weekends, and leading up to that, I was building up my Instagram 3 or 4 days out of the week I had off. So a majority of the time was creating content, building up my YouTube. You guys have seen me post videos before that, and building up my social platform and my brand. So that's what I was doing leading up to January. And when I started at Equinox, since like I said, over these past couple of minutes, it literally took over my life. So I kind of neglected my social media platform, and Instagram's algorithm changed. I started losing engagement. I started losing, started losing the motivation to post. And I started focusing on my own business that was right in front of me, even though the plan was that once I was at Equinox, I would focus on both my online business, my coaching, everything through social media at the same time, as well as building up my personal business at Equinox at private training. And yeah, that didn't work out too well. Pretty much, honestly, I realized that I got to a point where I realized that I was unhappy and I didn't want to be there anymore. I was training multiple clients a day. It was exhausting. Oh my God, and on top of it, I was in prep for my competition, so I was super strict and low on calories. I personally felt bad for my clients because as a personal trainer, you're obviously supposed to be there to motivate, get people going, get their fire going, and motivate your clients to work out and train hard and push them. And I was struggling so hard on low calories. I was trying to hit my cardio twice a day at the gym, and I was not enjoying training. I was like 4 or 5 weeks out from my show. I felt absolutely miserable, and I felt like that energy was being put onto my clients as well. So I felt terrible for them. Some of them I even told them, like, listen, I'm on prep. I am so sorry. If I lack any motivation, I'm trying my best here. I literally feel like a zombie. So it was tough, man. It was so tough. And then driving there day and night, all day. Anyway, the point of all that was I was unhappy, and I told my personal training manager, I was like, hey, and we actually developed a super great relationship. My personal training manager and I became like such close friends in the workplace since I was there all the time. I wasn't anywhere else. And we became really close. And, I always valued that relationship, and she always kicked my ass. Anyway, I went up to her and I was like, hey, listen, like, I can't, I'm not happy doing this. And I got to a point where I kind of felt how it would be like to be a personal trainer full-time, training 6, 7, 8 clients a day. And honestly, it wasn't for me. I was not happy. I unfortunately wasn't happy training some of my clients just because some of them didn't even want to work out. They would complain the entire time. And I personally like training people that want to be trained, that are motivated. And you don't necessarily have to be good. I just like having fun while I'm trying. I'm with you for an hour, and I'm not gonna sit through your misery and complaining. I actually want to enjoy myself. So I didn't find myself enjoying training as much. At least like hours at a time. Sometimes I had back-to-backs for like 4 hours straight. And obviously people are paying for their time, so I would literally go from one session to another, no break. Sometimes wouldn't eat, and I was on prep. So shit was not easy. Anyway, so I got to a point in May, and this is actually the craziest part. So during this entire time since I started Equinox, I was actually sponsored by OneUp. So I got sponsored by OneUp in November. I started at Equinox in January. So in the midst of all this, I was sponsored by OneUp and promoting them obviously on social media, loving all their products, trying everything, and I was absolutely in love with the brand. So and OneUp Nutrition is actually based out here in Florida, in Miami. Their headquarters is literally 10 to 15 minutes away from my house. So I reached out to Vadim, who's a CEO, and I was like, hey man, I want to check out the headquarters. Let's meet up. Let's get a workout and something. Whenever you have time, because obviously he's super busy. So we met up and we trained in South Beach. He actually lives in South Beach, so it was super cool. I got to get out of work and I just literally drove like 5 minutes out. We trained at the gym, a super well-known gym here, also called Anatomy. So we were there, and this is the point where I was training multiple clients, my business was picking up, and I was not happy. So I told him about this, I told him about my social media. I was like, hey man, this is where I'm at right now. And he literally changed my life at that very moment. The next day I called my personal training manager, I quit, and I started working full time on my social media, my online training, my personal business, and shit. From that moment forward, from May 2017 until present day today, which we're in October 2017, shit took off, and my social media grew from 45K in May, and my Instagram grew all the way to 108K, which is what I have today. So in the midst of that, I started getting on more online clients. I started building up my business. My engagement was going up. I was posting videos, stuff like that. So I was full force into making content, growing my business, and just working for myself at this point full time. And that's where I'm at right now. So that's career-wise and in a mixture of personal life. So from January to May, when I was working at Equinox, I literally was miserable. It was miserable. I mean, I also had fun at work sometimes, but I was honestly not happy where I was with my life. And ever since then, since I quit Equinox and I started working on my own online coaching and my business, I've never been happier. I've never been more ambitious. When I quit Equinox, I actually stepped on stage, I think like 2 or 3 weeks later, and that was miserable as well, those last couple of weeks of prep. But, I love the sport and I love training that way, so got on stage and qualified for nationals, and that's where I'm at now with training. And so I did all that, picked up a lot of clients, and that's pretty much what I'm doing right now full time, career-wise. Personal life-wise, I'm single AF, single as fuck. From January to May, the entire time when I was at Equinox, I was in the dead zone. I could have gone on a few dates, never did. And I was just so focused on building my personal business at Equinox, my own personal training business, which was so tough. Trying to kind of like put in some effort with my social media at the same time, which was, I was miserable. I was miserable, but at the same time, I'm never the type of person to give up on something. So I was putting in the work when the work needed to be put in. And that being said, life-wise now, I guess we'll transition now into my personal life. So yeah, I'm single now. I'm kind of focusing more on the balance since I do work for myself now, and manage my own time, manage my own business. So I'm spending some time with balance. So working my ass off and playing hard as well. Focusing on training, my own training, and training clients, my business, and my personal life. And that being said, so in January of 2017, I went to the LA Fit Expo. I met a ton of influencers, and here's the crazy part, guys. I went on my fucking own. At this point, I wasn't working, so I was literally running on savings that I had from when I moved from New Jersey to Miami in September. From September all the way until January, before I started Equinox, I was running on fumes on all my savings. I was burning through all my savings, and I literally barely had any money to make it out to LA. But I spontaneously booked my trip, and I went out there on my own with absolutely nothing. I was at 40-something thousand followers, and nobody knew who I was. I think I had like 2 or 3 people at the expo actually come up to me and say what's up. But I was no one. And at that point, that was 2 or 3 years after I've been building my social media up. So going to the expo, I kind of expected a little bit more. And it was a big shocker. I was a freaking nobody in the business. Everyone had their camera out. People were freaking vlogging. It felt like a YouTube reunion. And here I am by myself walking around the expo, not knowing a single soul, seeing, that's what I did for 2 days there, and I stayed with my cousins, so I didn't have to buy a hotel. And I created these comp cards for modeling, for business, for personal training, whatever. And on the front of them, it had my name, and a modeling photo, and then like all my contact information, and a couple other fitness photos that I've taken. And that's what I went with. I went with that. I started tossing out those cards, handing them out. I auditioned for this modeling company. They never reached out back to me, and I pretty much left the expo absolutely empty-handed. And I was like, okay, I did it, spent everything I pretty much had, and then I got back and started working at Equinox. So that's pretty much where I was. And shit has changed, man. So for 2 to 3 years, building my social media, going to the expo, grinding out, just being a Joe Schmo in the gym, no one knowing who I am, and killing myself, making sacrifices, being lonely at times, isolating myself, and just working on my vision, working on my brand, working on my goals constantly over and over again. And ever since that day, training with Vadim at that gym, that was the breaking point, and it changed my life. So my personal life is in the works. I'm trying to honestly work on that as well. I need to work on my own personal happiness, and be happy and not kill myself with work all the time. So that being said, I am now moving to Los Angeles. It's crazy, guys. After leaving the LA Fit Expo in January, I promised myself, I said, I'm gonna make moves to get here as soon as possible. And I made that a goal of mine, and it's literally insane that this is actually coming to fruition. And in 2 days, today's Thursday, I leave to LA on Saturday, and shit has, all the feels, like, you know, I'm nowhere near where I want to be, and I don't consider myself anybody famous, insta famous, nothing. I don't consider myself that in any way, and actually I'm so humbled by everything that has happened so far, and where I am right now, and people, old friends, families, college friends, everyone's messaging me, you made it, and honestly I don't care. I mean, the fame doesn't mean anything to me, even if it is considered fame. I mean, I'm at 100K followers and there's people with millions, so I don't consider myself famous at all. And regardless of that point, that's pretty much irrelevant to me. What has impacted me the most is the DMs I get, the messages I get, the transformations of my clients, just shit, man, that is what has fueled my fire. That is what inspires me. That is what provides the fuel that I need to live out my purpose. And you know, that's what is important to me, you guys, your support always. And so now I'm moving to LA. I'm launching my own clothing brand, as you guys probably have seen on Instagram. And if you guys are not following me on Instagram, I'll put the link right over here. And yeah, this is just an accumulation of years of obtaining nothing in return, no results, and now things are actually starting to pick up. So guys, that's where I'm at. So right now I'm currently sitting in my apartment with boxes and clothes everywhere. I have laundry that needs to be folded, and I'm just packing everything up. I'm putting all my luggage into my car because tomorrow my car is being shipped out to LA. So I have to stuff all my stuff in my car, and I have to pack everything up. So that's what I'm doing right now, and for the most part just work on clients, client check-ins, emails, and all that stuff. So this has been running for 17 minutes, and this is completely raw and unedited. So, you know, for those of you guys who are watching, it means so much to me. I apologize if this was super lengthy, but I just hope that you pick up on something that inspires you, that, you know, motivates you to chase after what you want, regardless if, you know, you're not seeing any results at the moment. That was literally me through college for such a long time, and, you know, literally putting my degree on the back burner. For you guys, those of you guys who don't know, I went to college to become a doctor. I was going to go to medical school. I got my degree in biology. All I had to do was study for my MCAT and take my exam, and I put that to the side to pursue this. And I put that on the side to pursue this with having nothing in front of me. I was not reaping any rewards from social media from pursuing this, and it's literally crazy how things have turned out so far. So that being said, guys, that wraps up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed, please do so right now. I'll be posting up tons of content now that I'll be moving to LA, and hopefully you guys will keep up with me. And I want to see what you guys think about this video. If you guys want to have any comments at all, you could always drop a comment down. I would love to connect with you guys more. So hope you guys enjoyed this video again, and yeah, I'm gonna go pack now, so I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.